Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Vander with Elevate Ag, and I'm coming to you today to share a little bit about creating and marketing your ag story. So, to kick this off, I really want to dive into really creating that ag story and what that means exactly. So, your ag why is where I really think that we want to start and talk about that part of it. And so, you might be asking yourself, what is your ag why? Well, it's really why you want to show up and share online. And we can really deep dive this, but we don't have a ton of time today. So I thought I'd give you a couple resources where you can go and figure this out. I really love the YouTube video called Start with Why by Simon Sinek. He also has a book called Start with Why and a second book called Find Your Why. And it can really help you break down the layers of why you're choosing to show up online, what your message is going to be, and how you want to deliver that to your audiences. After you really figure out why you're sharing, the next step is going to be who are you sharing to? And the more specific that you can be on this, really the better. So, who are you sharing to? Are you going to be sharing to fellow farmers and ranchers, really trying to connect with them, maybe give them resources about farming or dairy farming? Maybe instead you're trying to connect with people outside of ag. If that's the case, be specific about that too. Are you wanting to talk to the millennial mom in the grocery store? Are you wanting to reach the younger generation with Gen Zs? Who are you trying to connect with? And then when you create content, you really want to create that content with those people in mind. Everything should be focused around really creating content that serves them and adds value to their lives. The next step is going to be your ag what, which is your niche. So we kind of are already niched down in agriculture and within agriculture and dairy, but you can get more specific than that. So for me, I share about dairy sustainability. That's my niche. That's really where I focus. I'm not necessarily sharing about animal welfare or nutrition of milk. I may touch on those topics, but truly at the core, my niche is dairy sustainability. So you want to find something similar. What is your niche within dairy, within agriculture that you're going to be sharing about and who you're trying to reach? The next step of this is going to be picking your platform. There are so many platforms out there. It can be honestly overwhelming. And I'm here to tell you do not pick them all. I recommend picking one, maybe two, and doing them really, really well, honing your skills, getting good at those, and then maybe branching out once you become the master of one or two platforms. So, which one or two platforms do you pick? Well, there's a few things that I recommend doing when deciding. The first one, I think it's helpful when you actually like using the platform. So, for example, I don't personally use YouTube, so I don't have a YouTube channel. It doesn't make sense for me to be on a platform that I don't regularly use or even understand. So, I naturally gravitated towards Instagram because I love Instagram. I love using the platform. But then you want to go a little bit deeper. Who are you trying to reach? If I'm trying to reach Gen Z, I'm probably not going to be hanging out on Facebook. I'm probably going to need to be on TikTok. So you also want to think about that ag who. Who are you trying to reach and where are they hanging out? You also might want to consider what the different platforms offer you. So, one of the great things about Facebook is you can actually link directly to things on your Facebook page. So, if you're wanting to sell a product, it can be really handy to have an actual link straight to your website so that if you're talking about something, you can say, hey, this is where you go to order that, or whatever it may be in that case. If you love creating longer format videos, Facebook and YouTube might be the place for you. Another thing to consider is podcasting. I know we don't always think of podcasting as a platform, as a social media platform, but it is a really up and coming area space for agriculture to be able to share in a little bit longer formats. And when I say longer, it really lots of podcasts I listen to are actually under 15 minutes. And then there's some I listen to over 45 minutes. So it just depends what you're comfortable with. Again, what your content is going to look like. Something else about these platforms that you should understand is short form content versus long form content about how long it lives and is like alive on social media. So, Instagram and TikTok are really short form. After 24 hours, pretty much the content is gone. Nobody's going to see it. Maybe you can get 48 hours, but really it's not going to extend beyond that. Whereas Facebook, YouTube, a blog, Pinterest, those are really long form content. So, that content is going to live on for weeks, even months. We have a Facebook page, and sometimes I'll get comments, views on posts from weeks, months ago. And it's just crazy to see that people are still engaging with that content. So that's something else to consider. If you're picking two platforms, I recommend picking a shorter form and a longer form. So for me, I typically gravitate toward Instagram and Facebook. And there's some overlap in my content there. I'm able to kind of repurpose some of my Facebook videos for Instagram and some of my Instagram reels for Facebook. So I really love that overlap and having that diversity and how long my content is still viable. The next thing that you need to understand, and we'll get to this a little bit more, but you need to understand how you can possibly generate an income from those different platforms. That's an important piece, especially if you're really going to make this a piece of your farm, your life. If you want to generate an income from it, understanding how you generate an income from each of those platforms is crucial. So, more on that later. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is your content strategy. So, what are you actually putting out on these platforms? The number one piece of advice, no matter what platform you're on, from Instagram to TikTok to podcasting to Pinterest, you want content that serves. It needs to serve your audience. What does that mean exactly? It means it needs to bring value to them. So, your content is actually a lot less about you and a lot more about them. So, for me, my content, I hope to serve people by providing resources and information about how dairy is a sustainable piece in a overall food system, like a nutritious diet, a sustainable diet. How does dairy play into that? So that is really where the root of the content I am trying to serve people. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you are just posting to post, typically that content doesn't do as well. You want to have some thought, some reasoning why you're sharing what you're sharing and who it's serving and how it's serving them. On some platforms, like Instagram, doing a pillar strategy can be really helpful. So, what is pillars? Well, they're pillars of content. So, for Instagram, I try to have 4 to 5 pillars that I share on every single week. And having 4 or 5 kind of works out nicely because I can kind of rotate through them throughout the week. So 4 to 5 things that are just like my main areas of focus. So I've said dairy sustainability, but obviously every once in a while there might be something about life, motherhood that relates to the farm that I want to share about. Maybe there's a recipe I'd like to share about. Then I'm going to come back to dairy sustainability. Then I might share about, all of ag and what ag is doing to be more sustainable. And then I just kind of rotate through those different pillars. And those pillars can change, evolve. You may have one pillar at one time and then move on from it. But it can be really helpful to kind of have it categorized in that form so that you don't feel like you have to put your entire life on social media. But at the same time, you're giving enough of yourself, a little diversity, that people want to hang around and check out what new you're posting. That's for Instagram. TikTok is a little bit different. TikTok, you can be a single pillar platform where you share about the same thing every day. Every single day you share about dairy sustainability. Every single day you share about cooking hacks in your kitchen. And that's all you have to share about. So every platform is a little different in that space. But the key is just understanding what your pillars are and how you're utilizing them on whichever platform you're on. My last piece of advice for content is being consistent. This does not mean posting every single day. So fear not, that's not what I mean here. Being consistent means you deciding what your content schedule looks like and then sticking with it. So on Facebook, my husband and I have committed to posting 2 3-minute videos every single week. That's our consistency. So every week, I really try to get out 2 Facebook videos. Sometimes that happens on Tuesday and Thursdays on a perfect world. Other times it happens on Thursday and Friday, like this week. But the key is to try to be consistent as possible with your content. Over on Instagram, I try to post on my Instagram stories at least 5 days a week, taking the weekends off, coming back refreshed. But I try to be really consistent in those other 5 days of sharing throughout the day about my life and what's going on in stories. It can also be really healthy, though, to take a break. So don't feel like you have to post every day. I know on my Instagram stories, when I actually take a break, let my stories expire for 24 hours, and then come back, I'll get a little bit of a boost in views. So taking a break can actually be really valuable. So don't feel like you need to burn yourself out. Take those breaks, but jump back into being consistent each week and what your schedule is like. And you can pick those days off. Do not feel like you have to take Saturday and Sunday off. Some people really enjoy sharing about their Saturdays with their families. It looks different for everyone. You figure out your boundaries and set those up. The next piece of your content is storytelling. This is the most important part of your content as far as actually telling a story. And I don't mean like once upon a time telling a story. I mean like involving like the people into your life, telling them about your life in a way that makes them want to listen. Storytelling is one of the most important pieces of how we communicate with each other and how we get people to remember the stories we tell them. They are so much more likely to remember something we tell them if it's a piece of a story than a single fact. And so, this storytelling, you really want to have people do three things with it. You want them to know you want them to like you, and you want them to trust you. And that's what you want to keep in mind with your storytelling. Are you taking those people from getting to know you, to liking you, to trusting you? That is the key to your content. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is advocacy. I feel like a lot of us, when we get on started online sharing, it's really because we just want to advocate for agriculture. We want to advocate for our farm, for dairy. And so that's a big piece of why we're sharing online. So with advocacy, I recommend like discussing, figuring out what your goal is. Who are you trying to reach and what do you want to help them understand? Maybe it is the millennial mom in the grocery store, and you want her to feel good that she can buy any milk on the shelf and feel really confident in her choice. That is your goal of advocacy. So create content around that goal. And again, going back to serving that audience. Whatever your advocacy may be, you get to decide your style and how you approach things. There's lots of people doing a lot of different advocacy online, and it's amazing because we all are reaching people in different ways. Some people are really direct and straightforward. Other people may put content out there and respond to comments, interact with their audience. Other people may not. And so you just have to figure out what you feel comfortable about with advocating. And on that note, the number one question I get about advocating is animal activists. And I will tell you that while animal activists are obviously real, there's real trolls online that will leave you comments. It's not nearly as bad as you may think it is. There is the positives from advocating for me have far outweighed the negatives, like not even close to the amount of positive conversations I get to have in a day versus negative comments. And the best thing about like sharing online and having this be your platform is it's your platform. You get to decide the rules. Maybe with animal activists, your approach is block and delete and you move on and don't think about it again. Maybe you engage with them in the comments and you get dialogue going back and forth. Maybe you put up your content. If they leave a comment, an activist leaves a comment, great. They can leave it there. You don't engage with it at all. You get to decide your approach, and you also get to change your mind or evolve as you continue sharing and getting comfortable in your online sharing space. For me, my first rule was block and delete always. I still hold pretty true to that. If you're leaving pretty negative comments on my page, I'm going to block and delete you. But I have gotten more comfortable and confident of giving responses back. And it's amazing to see the engagement from my other people in my community coming to the conversation and seeing the dialogue I'm having with an activist or someone that just maybe is skeptical about dairy. But again, that's not how I started my approach. So you can change and evolve as you continue to grow. I will say one thing about advocacy that also I get asked about is where to find resources. Well, I can't give you all the resources in this video, but if you head over to our website, elevateyouragstory.com/advocacy resource guide. If you go to our homepage of our website, you'll see it there. You can download our resource guide. It's broken into all sorts of sections about greenhouse gas emissions, dairy, nutrition, and it's tons of links to peer reviewed data to be able to put together content, to be able to have engaging conversations, respond to comments, questions, tons of great information in that resource guide. So head to our website, elevateyouragstory.com to get that. And the final thing I want to touch on is monetizing. Sharing online can take up a lot of time. And so figuring out if you want to monetize your social sharing is a really important piece of this. So the first thing is monetizing on different platforms. Some platforms allow you to monetize directly from the platform. Facebook and YouTube are great examples of that. Once you get to a certain amount of followers and a certain amount of minutes viewed on your page, Facebook will start putting ads in your 3-minute videos and they will pay you for them. Similar on YouTube. It's a great way to generate income without actually having to, do a brand partnership or something like that. It's just directly from the platform. The next way option of making money is brand partnerships. These can be really great. If you have brands you love on your dairy and that you're using all the time, reach out to them. Let them know that you're using them and that you're sharing about them on social media. Start tagging them in your Instagram stories long before you ever pitch them so they can see how you're using their products and whether they'd want to work with you or not. You can also do speaking. A lot of times when you take a stand on social media, you're going to generate, interest in maybe having you speak on stages. I personally love that and think it's such a great way to get my message out there. And it's really just about kind of formulating a topic that I'm going to be talking about on my Instagram page and carrying that over to speaking. The last option, and I say the last option, there's literally a million ways to make money online, but these are kind of like the main categories. So the last one I'll talk about today is selling a product. Maybe you have an apparel line or you're selling fun farm t-shirts. Maybe you're doing direct to consumer cheese or beef sales. That is another option of being able to monetize online, is selling a product directly to your audience, your community. So on that kind of wraps me up for my top tips for today. But if you want more information, you can find me on Instagram at Tara Vander Dussen. I'm always happy to answer DMs. If you want more information on really sharing, crafting your story, again, head to elevateyouragstory.com. We have tons of great resources there beyond the resource guide of how to put together your Instagram page, how to make money online, lots of great tips and freebies to download over there. So thank you, and I hope you found this helpful.